Hey Arnold Vlogs, again. So I apologize in advance if for the humming. That's the air conditioner. It's summer and it's hot. Second, I'm not Fruitus free yet. I have like 2 more episodes left, but I kind I just was feeling like, you know what? I'm busy catching up on Rick and Morty right now. I don't know when I'm gonna get through the rest of this free. And I figured, okay, I have time on my hands. The episodes are fresh in my mind. So here's most of disc free. This is going to cover everything from Benchwarmer all the way through Gerald comes over, and then one more episode. So without any further ado, let's get started. As always, there's going to be like little time things in the description, so if you just want to hear my thoughts on a specific episode, you can skip around. So, the first episode was Benchwarmer. In this episode, we focus on Arnold playing for the school's basketball team, and the coach, his son, is on the team, so of course he plays favorites to him, so his main rule is just pass the ball to Tucker, always, and the downside to that strategy is, one, no one else gets to play, but two is that it also affects the team strategy because if it's all about passing the ball to Tucker, it means sometimes forfeiting a perfectly good throw just for Tucker. And Tucker's so pressured by his father that he can't throw the perfect basketball, yet his father insists on doing it anyway, even though Arnold's pretty good at it. So Arnold takes it upon himself to train Tucker, teach him how to throw the basketball, and eventually Tucker learns to trust the ball, does well at basketball, but he doesn't give Arnold any credit for it. And the guilt of that, combined with father, throws him off and he can't throw the ball. So when he basically kind of fakes an injury, so to give Arnold and his friends a chance to score the winning shot. And then he told his father that what happened. And this was a surprisingly relatable episode for me because I'm not much of a sports guy, in case the fact that I vlog about cartoons didn't give anything away, but I'm not very athletic. I mean, I do go for runs, I do stay in shape, but as far as sports go, I've never been that into it, and I'm not athletic like gym class. Suck at throwing the basketball, suck at rocket. I'm pretty much just the most non-athletic person. Like, my girlfriend's more athletic than me. And yeah, I really enjoyed this episode because it's like, for a lot of reasons. For one, it's inside the school, and I like how this show's constantly we're seeing different parts of the city, whether it be focusing on a new character, focusing on a different aspect of Arnold's life. So seeing them in after-school gym was good. Also, just the idea of, like, you feel like you're smart, you're capable, you're the best, but someone else gets picked over you. Like, in school, sometimes, like, there would be people who'd be chosen to steer them up. I'm like, that kid's a jerk, or he doesn't work as hard as me. So, I could relate. There was even an episode of Star vs. the Forces of Evil I saw recently that kind of reminded me of this. It's the one where Marco's not chosen to represent the karate dojo, but the chief chooses Jeremy instead. So, but, I mean, that episode had a completely different outcome and resolution, but for whatever reason, it just reminded me of. And in Sentinel, we had a tragedy where there was all these talented kids who want to help the team, but the coach is constantly playing favorites. And there's also this just sympathy for Arnold, who is constantly trying to do the right thing, but he keeps getting screwed over. Like, he tries to help his team win, gets regulated to the bench. He helps Tucker train, Tucker just throws him under the bus. Yeah, a lot of these moments. And it's just heart-wrenching for Arnold, because, you know, he's a kid who's constantly trying to do the right thing. And, you know, here's a time where Arnold keeps doing the right thing, but he keeps suffering for it. And you can kind of feel that strain of Arnold trying to keep it together, but just, it's not working out. Like, and there's even that bit where the grandpa gives him the very amusing story about cleaning up after the elephants. But I think there is a lesson there of how sometimes, like, life is rough, but you just gotta keep pushing forward, and eventually, somehow, hopefully, things will work out. I also enjoyed seeing Arnold train Tucker. I thought that was very amusing and great training sequence, and I like seeing Arnold in the mentor role again. I honestly kind of enjoyed this training sequence a lot more than when his grandma was training Arnold back a few episodes ago. I also like that they didn't necessarily make Tucker a villain, they just made him an innocent kid who just has the misfortune of having all the spotlight his father's putting on them. And it speaks to how sometimes our parents can put a lot of pressure on us to do well, and how sometimes that pressure can be better. I would have liked a bit more humanization on the dad's end, though. He's kind of just this strict drill sergeant militaristic coach, which makes for an effective antagonist, and it makes for a somewhat entertaining character, but I would have liked a bit more sympathy and insight into why he's so tough on Tucker, outside of just being the stereotypical yelling coach. This little thing that kind of bugged me in this episode, which is why doesn't the coach's wife come to the games? Again, I'm nitpicking. Maybe she's out of town. Maybe there's something going on. Maybe she and the coach split. But for whatever reason, she isn't there. I'm sure there's tons of fan theories out there, but that was just sort of a little thing. There's also this thing with the disc where sometimes the quality looks really good and sometimes it looks bad. I'm not sure if this is the disc, the episode, because these are all pretty old episodes being burned onto discs. But yeah, overall pretty good episode. The next one was Cool Jerk, which I'm a little torn on whether or not this is a good episode, because it's very atmospheric, very charming, very much just all the things that make Hey Arnold a fun show, and it also finally features Gerald being a positive influence on Arnold, not a negative influence. But I'm also kind of against it, because in order to make Gerald a positive influence, it also makes Arnold kind of regress his character. In this episode, Arnold and the gang are hanging out, playing with their friends, having fun, and then this guy at a motorcycle shows up and is like, "Hey, cool kid, come on my motorcycle. I conveniently have a football-shaped helmet with me." And the guy's name is Tony G, and he thinks Arnold's cool, so takes him around, shows him the town, shows him his life, and eventually it gets to the point where Arnold's ditching school to hang out with these guys, and Gerald keeps telling him that these guys are bad news. Fuzzy Slipper says he's a bad influence, but Arnold insists on going. And then eventually it's revealed that they're just using him to help them sneak into places, since Arnold's small and has a football-shaped head. He can fit into the football-shaped window. So Arnold gets forced to rob a building, but before he can, some sirens go off, all the gang members run away, and then it turns out it was just Gerald looking out for Arnold. And again, I didn't hate this episode, because, again, there's a lot of stuff I liked about it. We were seeing, I always like seeing different parts of the city, and here we get to look at a bunch of teenagers, a bunch of thugs, and again, that's kind of a place I never expected Hey Arnold to go and explore, but it did, and I really enjoyed seeing them explore it. And again, it was nice to finally get an episode where Gerald, for once, is right, and he's the positive influence on Arnold, as opposed to being the voice of pessimism and negativity. The only downside is that, again, in order for Gerald to be that, Arnold needs to be in the wrong, and Arnold just felt a little out of character here. Arnold's always been come across to me as someone very responsible, very mature, someone who's always willing to step up and do the right thing where other people quit, as we've seen in a bunch of previous episodes, particularly the Christmas special, where he went out of his way to help his flatmate be reunited with his daughter. So it's a little weird here to see Arnold being irresponsible. I mean, I find it really hard that Arnold would just willingly cut school, just willingly leave. I feel like Arnold would be the one to know, but I think it would make more sense if Gerald was the one getting suckered into this, and Arnold was the one that had to talk him out of it. And there was also this really random argument Arnold has with Gerald where he talks about how he's never had a big brother before, and how he wishes, and for him, this is sort of like having one. And again, like this, there's a later episode I saw that kind of brings this up, so I'm not as annoyed about it now. But up until this point, there had been nothing really indicating that Arnold missed having a sibling. I mean, yes, he doesn't have his parents, but he's in a community of tons of friends who are basically like brothers to him. So the idea that Arnold feels lonely not having a sibling, again, it just sort of felt random. He seemed content having his own room in an apartment complex. I don't see why this is a problem. Also, Gerald mentions an older brother, which we haven't seen. And I'm really curious who Fuzzy Slippers is. Is he one of the background characters you haven't seen yet? Again, not a bad episode, just kind of contrived and a little out of character. And that's all I have for now. I'll be back soon with the rest of these. Bye.